BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
Hello, and indeed ahoy hoy. Welcome to this here episode of BRB UK. 'Tis episode 409. 'Tis the 1st of October of 2020. There's only one of these. There shall never be another 1st of October of 2020. So enjoy the moment, kids. It's a wonderful time. Best time to be alive. Best time to be playing video games. Also, the best time to say hello to Coleman. Hello, Coleman.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. I was trying to sneakily cook dinner before recording so it'd be ready for when I finished. I've got all the prep done. So when I finished here, I've got to run off and cook dinner, prep tomorrow's lunch, and then come back and edit the show. So I'll be done at 4 in the morning.
I'm just going to say hello to Tim quickly. Hello, Tim.
Hello, Tim.
But now back to Coleman.
Yes.
What are you eating? What's on what's a la Coleman?
So tonight is so I'm on very calorie controlled type lunches and dinners at the moment. So tonight is a special kind of sweet chili chicken with noodles and veggies. Ooh. And then tomorrow I'm doing a nice meatball pasta salad for lunch. So there you go. Nice. If you wanted to know the dietary requirements of a man trying to lose weight, there you go.
Mate, I have been there in the very recent past, and it sucks. Post 30s metabolism is no joke. Seriously,
it's not.
It's rubbish.
Yeah,
the diet stuff doesn't annoy me so much. I seem to eat more on the diet than I am in my regular life. It's
well, you're probably just more aware of it.
Well, you got to do things like cut out not cooking with oil. Instead, you got to use fry light. And fry light, I don't know if you've ever used, that stuff is the devil because it seems to have destroyed every one of my non-stick pans. So there you go.
Just think of what it's doing to your insides.
Oh, yes, Teflon.
That's guts. Why you're losing weight, mate. You're pooing yourself inside out because of all the noxious chemicals in fry light. Other brands of oil are available.
I was watching a thing the other day where they through new studies, they were able to tell the lifetime a fat cell exists in your body, basically. So a much more accurate degree than they could before.
Well, so far, 36 years.
Well, apparently
I've got one that's been hanging about for nearly 41. I'm fairly sure
it's about 9 years. Like you can make them contract and get smaller, and that's how you can like lose weight like quickly and easily sometimes. But if you want to actually lose that weight permanently, it can take up to 9 years for those fat cells to disappear.
Or just chop off a leg. That's the best way to lose probably 1.5 stones in an instant. Just chop off a leg.
I mean, I shaved my beard right down from last week, so that's got to be 1 stone at least.
I know, it's looking pretty true. But anyway, we digress.
Games.
These miserable tales of midlife spread that we're sharing. Although, Carl, we'd be interested to see if what the total amount of weight we as a podcast can lose by the end of this year.
We should have planned that before I started this because I'm down 20 pounds already.
I know how much I weighed at the beginning of the year, and I know how much I weigh now, and you probably know how much you weighed at the beginning of the year, and you're going to know how much you weigh now. So, listeners, guess how much weight we might lose this year.
I don't weigh myself.
How much less BRB UK there will be for you to listen to.
Also, Tim, Tim lost a bunch of weight already because he was cycling.
Yeah, I lost it already. So
yeah, but that was this year, right?
We should have planned all this and could have involved things like
we'll roll your number in it as well.
We could have involved gaming into the weight loss. Like Tim's got a Kinect, I've got a Wii Fit. Is it a Wii Fit?
I've got a cat.
Nintendo Fit. What's it called?
No, I wanted the Ring Fit, but I couldn't find it. Everyone
Ring
was,
Fit.
This was when they didn't have RTX 3000 series PS5s and Xbox Ones to scalp. That was the thing dickheads were scalping.
My girlfriend picked up one because she wanted to and then proceeded to let me set it up, and now it sits in the corner while she plays Zumba instead. So that's... I used it.
The fickleness of youth. So, chaps, any more pre-order woes this week? Had any pre-orders cancelled, Tim?
No.
Spent any money, Tim?
I think I don't. No, not really.
You don't know if you spent money.
Not this week. I think I spent more money last week.
The listeners have suggested things to put on the board for when you spend silly money.
Yes, I know.
Such as...
I'd buy that for $1.
That was an excellent suggestion.
And also...
As I said.
I thought that was quite cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Or is that what happens to Tim whenever he walks into a shop? His money explodes out of him.
I like the idea he runs into an electronics store and then he does that Sonic when he slows down. He goes, like as he's on his heels, and then he loses all the rings as he's running into the automatic door.
Explode behind the counter.
Anyway, enough about exploding rings. That's an entirely different dietary complaint. Yeah. But also another good way to lose weight. Allegedly. Don't poo yourselves inside out to lose weight, people.
No.
Right, anyway, so on from slightly light-hearted news to the continuing...
I'll talk about the gamers industry again, and it quickly gets depressing.
We had possibly the worst timing on a news report last week because we spoke about Michel Ancel leaving Ubisoft. And, good on him, sinking ship and all that kind of stuff. And then not 2 days later from us recording or 1 day from us putting the show out, it turns out he actually left because of toxic allegations against himself.
Yeah. Didn't we say there might be the idea of being jumping versus being pushed?
Yeah, I think we did kind of,
But obviously, legally, we can't, you don't want to slander anybody.
Of course not.
And the issue.
It is accusations. This one comes from the French newspaper Liberation. They're the ones actually, I believe, they're the ones who put the big expose about not just Ubisoft, but also I've forgotten the flipping names. David Cage's company as well, back in the day when that came to light.
Didn't mean to put it on him, but I just remembered his name before the company name.
Yes. So. Yeah, there you go. And that was then picked up by US Gamer, and there's apparently reports that say that Ancel has been accused of behaviour that led to difficult working conditions for the staff of Beyond Good and Evil 2. And then on IGN, I picked this up from Ubisoft, confirmed Ancel's comments to be, basically he's under investigation and has left the company.
To go and raise chickens or whatever it was.
We'll let you decide how much smoke is or is not originating from that particular fire.
Since then, Michel has actually been on his Instagram page, and he's said that Yves Guillemot has not been in contact with him, despite having this thing from Ubisoft come out. And he's also said that he's offered the journalist that has reported on him the opportunity to take enough time to look at all the mistakes, and let's see if he will do that. So it seems to be an ongoing investigation. We'll see what comes of that going forward.
Can I just say that is a French-ass reply to that?
Prove me wrong.
Why don't you look at all the things, and then you can work out how many things there are and not. Huh? Beth.
The only way that could have been more French is if he surrendered at the end.
Oh, snap, son.
It's fun.
Yes. Anyway, before we offend people by saying things like cheese-eating surrender monkey, we probably ought to move on.
Yeah, and another story that we've got that is bad timing for us, really, because not only does this happen after we've spoken about it, but as we were recording...
Yeah, and literally, within 5 minutes of finishing, a WhatsApp message from Tim going, oh, bucker. You never guess what Amazon has just announced.
Yeah. So Amazon have announced the Luna, which is their cloud video game streaming service, which is going to rival, probably with not much difficulty, the Google Stadia and also the Xbox Game Pass.
It's going to lose that particular fight, I can tell you that now.
Yeah, well, I think it might beat Stadia up, though.
No, it's going to... no, Stadia is
going to eat Stadia's lunch. Like, Stadia's, third in a 3-horse race at the moment, and losing ground rapidly.
Third in a 3-horse race, and the second horse hasn't even left the stables yet.
So there's a base subscription package which gives you a library of games that you'll have access to, which I think is rolled in with your Prime. Like they do with many services at the moment. That's called Luna Plus. You can also get 4K streaming for an extra $5.99 a month. We don't have UK prices now. Which goes up against Stadia Pro, which is $9.99 a month.
Ow!
Yep. But also, now this is the bit that people are a bit uncertain about. It's the channel system. So the idea of It will give you access to either a library of games from a studio. So the first one will be Ubisoft because they love supporting new technologies for some reason.
Yeah.
So if you subscribe to the Ubisoft channel, that will give you access to Ubisoft games. But the idea is as well to go, there's also the RPG channel, the fighting game channel, the beat 'em up channel. And the idea is you subscribe to one of those channels, you pay for that. That gives you a bunch of games that are in that category.
Yeah. So if you don't like one particular studio, but you like one particular genre, that makes a lot of sense, no?
But also, I'd like to see things like, what could work for that? Just before you make your next point, jumping in like the conversational juggernaut that I am. Taking his book. Is an indie channel would be quite a cool thing to have that surfaces games from small developers. That might actually be quite a nice thing to do.
And that's where that's a good idea, because an indie game, you can, if you've got 100 indie games to choose from, you can dive in and out. You can pick your favorite flavors. You can find a new favorite. You can, if you're playing something, you switch it off. It's fine. If you subscribe to an RPG channel because you want an RPG, role-playing games tend to be much longer experiences for you to jump in and out. And I don't think you're getting the best of bang for your buck, as if it were.
Yeah, but it does give you the option to jump into something and not have to commit £60 to find out that you don't really like it very much.
Hey, look, this is one product I like to tell you. That's called Xbox Game Pass or PlayStation Plus.
Okay, but you might not have that.
Games with Gold.
Not everyone on the planet has those services, Dan. I know all three of us do,
or
and
Epic
so it
Games,
feels like
where they give you a game for free every 2 weeks.
That's a normal thing, but
Well, I was going to say, at the moment, Xbox Game Pass is something for your PC, your Xbox, and your Xbox coming out as well, but also your Samsung mobile devices, iOS going forward, it looks like, because there's been an update that's announced. But I'm assuming that will then roll out to smart TVs and things in the future that we could look at potentially.
And here's a fun thing.
Go on.
No, I was just going to say on the subject of smart TVs, don't forget, of course, that you can also, and I'm not sure how happy Amazon's going to be about this, you can sideload any Android app onto a Fire TV stick and link up a Bluetooth controller with said stick. So you can have a big blue stick of fun.
Well, the thing is, the Fire TV sticks and stuff, that is Amazon's product. So for all you know, you could very well stream this service to the newer version of one of those. But
you could also sideload the Xbox Game Pass app and have your Xbox funsies as well.
Okay, I get it.
I tried out the app on the Android, but it doesn't work with my controller, is what I found so far.
You have to,
so I have to have one of the slightly new ones. But
I have a question.
I have a question for both of you.
You can use a cable. Yeah. You can use a cable for that.
My question is going to be: have you turned it on or put batteries in it yet?
Well, it's a controller I was already using, so it worked.
I meant the phone, Tim. The phone.
The phone. Right. Oh, I got a new phone, by the way.
Yes.
Yes.
With your phone, you get the little adapters that will go USB to USB. If you take one of those that will go USB-C to USB and then attach that to a USB to micro USB, then that will slot in and attach to your phone. Some of them don't work. It depends on the cable itself.
Sounds like an episode of the A-Team. That you go into a shed with nothing but coat hangers and some sticky back plastic and emerge with a connecting cable.
Well, that's how I'm doing mine. Mine is cable to connector, and then I've got the little thing that I've shown off before that you attach your phone and your controller to, and it's a nice little thing like that. There are Razer does a controller, which the name of it is blanking me, but those are apparently really, really good, and Microsoft are recommending those for your phone as well.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that's been recommended, because I think that's the thing that's on Samsung's site. So that's the one I was actually looking at possibly picking up, because it's not,
I think they're about 70 quid
priced.
As well.
I think it was 64 when I was looking
64,
at it. I don't
okay.
know if that's a thing, but yeah, I was like, okay, but yeah, you would get that at the moment in preference to getting a more up-to-date pad than I have at the moment, basically. Because what I was hoping was getting a pad that will do as a second pad on my existing Xbox One, but then I also might be able to use as a second pad, albeit without some functionality, on the Series S as well. But then the main thing is for playing it on my phone.
I mean, but all modern Xbox controllers, like those released, I think, since 2016, have not only got the proprietary wireless connection that has with Xbox. They've also got a Bluetooth LE radio in them.
Yeah,
so you can use it for both.
Yeah, but apparently not the first gen Xbox One controller that I have, but everything else that came afterwards.
You can get a bog standard Xbox controller.
Yeah,
with it for probably much less than that. I would have thought.
Yeah, that's why I was asking you guys. Should I go for the Razer thing at 64 quid, or should I go for just a standard pad and then get the flip up?
Well, if you find a decent price on one, let me know, because I could do with a decent Xbox controller myself, but also I'll send you the link to the clips that I use on my phone and my controller as well.
Because I'm not sure if it's still the same deal, but
hammer.
Like Samsung were doing 15% off some things, and I'm not sure if that was one of them as well. Because if it's 15% off 64 quid,
yeah,
40 quid for an Xbox One controller from Argos. There we go.
There you go. I just wanted to say as well that this is kind of... It is a good look of where we're going in the future of games, even though the tech's not 100% there yet, and it will improve over time. But this is something that I was saying with the Google Stadia, though I'm not a fan of the Google Stadia service. I love the idea, and I hope that more people kind of improve on it going forward. But it also shows with recently where Microsoft go, okay, we're buying Bethesda, and we've got all the Bethesda games under our bracket now. Will they go to other consoles? Yes, they probably will go to other consoles, but they probably won't go to other streaming services. So now it's going to be much like when Netflix roamed the earth and everyone had Netflix and had every movie and TV show and stuff. Then all the streaming services went, well, we're going to start our own streaming service. We're going to get a bit of that pie. And now you've got 100 different streaming services on different regions all around the world that kind of divvy it up. So your $5.99 now goes to whatever, however many apps you got.
So a couple of points on that. Mm-hmm. One, competition, always good.
Yes.
For an industry, it's good
Except
that there are various
Google
streaming...
in this case, because Stadia is gonna die if they don't.
Yeah, Stadia, mate. Seriously, they just need to take that out the back of the shed with a bolt.
I have a very quick Stadia update to throw in this as well. Google they've just launched their new Chromecast, not compatible with Google Stadia.
Good work.
Not until I think it's mid 2021 they're going to patch it in, but still, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That is just stupid. But
Sorry,
also,
kids.
the other thing I was going to say as well is I still remain, and I'm sounding like a stuck record on this because, well, that's just me. I still maintain that game streaming services are at their best when they are an adjunct to how you usually play your games. So that if you're away for a couple of days, they're a good way you can still, if you want to kill some time, play a game. But is it yet at the stage where I would make that my primary platform? No, probably not.
No, but I think that the Luna actual option makes a lot of sense, no? Like having the different channels, like that makes sense for the people supplying the games because they've got their own channel to kind of, being in control of what content they put up there, and that the more they put up, the more money they get, basically.
Well, I was going to say, what worries me about that is like when we go, what a lovely deal it is to go pick up Xbox Game Pass, and you've got all these games available to you. What if those games start slowly disappearing, and now you have to go buy the Activision channel and the EA channel, and
Right, but that's why I think we've been banging on for a while that it's getting to the same point it was in movies where content is going to be king, basically, and that's why the acquisitions that Microsoft are making make a lot of sense in this environment, because the one thing that you can rely on being on Game Pass is all of the Microsoft stuff, basically. Yep. You know what I mean? Like that's the one thing you can rely on being there, and going forward, Bethesda stuff. Like, so that makes a big difference to their service. It remains to be seen what central point that Amazon Luna can kind of hang itself on, basically, because that seemed to be lacking from Stadia. The
one thing I would say, and let's not forget, Amazon owned Twitch.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd imagine there's going to be all kinds of integrations with Twitch and ways to directly interact with your audience or have audience participation affect the games that you play. I know that is there already through various text chats and stuff, but the actual kind of really deep integration that you might be able to surface.
Well, they were talking about that with Stadia as well, weren't they? Like, so
that was some YouTube
but they
stuff,
can't. But they can't find their ass with both hands, mate.
But I'm just saying, they will have seen what they were going for and go, well, hang on, we can do that with this. So, it makes sense for them to do similar.
I'll be interested to see going forward if Sony come up with some kind of answer to this. I mean, they technically have one; they just don't really do much with it. So, because if everyone starts going the streaming side and Sony are left behind, they could be left
eating my dust.
Oh, I
don't know enough about the technical side, but is it a case where the technology that it's based on is more outdated than the technology that these sorts of services are coming out with now, like Amazon and Stadia? Or is it something where they can update that enough that it's not different? I don't know. I'm not sure how that works from a technical aspect, no?
I don't know. All I know is Amazon's got the money to throw at this, and not just the money, but the technical backing as well. Pretty much
Mind
every
you, we said
major...
that about Google.
Well, yeah, but pretty much every major site runs on Amazon now. So
this is true. This is true. And actually, a lot of the patches and game assets are stored on AWS servers anyway, to be honest with
you. Although, I don't know that Jeff Bezos needs more money.
No.
So... Maybe let's not give it to him.
Most large corporations don't. Just like to throw that out.
What they do like is
a slightly worse billionaire, basically.
Well, it is what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, people should vote with their wallets. If it's a compelling value proposition, then I'm sure people will go and get a subscription. But at the end of the day, the main thing is the more choice there is in the market, better it is for consumers.
Yeah.
Well, I think.
Good.
And that's what I'm going to say, and that's what I've said.
It's fine. I agree with you.
Thanks, mate.
You're welcome.
You're the best.
Thank you.
Tim, you're okay too.
That's all the news we've got this week. It's been very quiet for.
It's been quiet.
There's a lot of small little announcements and stuff that we're not really touching on anymore for the prioritizing of time. But we can talk about the games we done played because me and Dan have played the same game.
Indeed. Well, the one thing I would say before we go into that, there has been, we kind of intimated at the beginning of the show, about people having pre-orders cancelled. It sounds like that's becoming quite a big thing from what I've been reading. A lot of people, even Amazon, getting in contact with people going, hey, that PS5 or that Xbox Series X you pre-ordered, you might not get that on release day.
I like the ones where Game have been charging people £10 extra delivery charges, even if they're picking up their consoles in store, and having not disclosed that there would be a delivery charge on the pre-order initially.
Well, and you've also seen other companies who there are some PC component companies out there. I won't name them, but they're some of the regular ones who you probably recognise, where they initially listed the new series of NVIDIA GPUs at the list price, but then as they saw demand take off, raised the price, and then raised the price, and then raised the price again.
And then raised the roof.
Exactly. And they ended up, I think, by the end of the week, charging 150 quid more for something than the list price that they'd initially shown it at.
But did they add an extra £10 delivery charge? I think not.
Well, yeah. I know, right?
Yeah.
But for me, all the GPUs are still out of stock, so go figure, right? RTX on. Future.
None of my things have been cancelled yet. So
I took another crack at trying to pre-order a PlayStation 5 just because of it. Something popped up, and I was like, I'll give it another go. This was Curry's all over again. Yeah, but initially Curry's sent me an email going, you inquired about the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition. They will never be in stock. And I'm like, what? So then instantly, it was a really word. I put it on the Discord as well and up on my Twitter and things. But and then they tweeted out a link, and also they'd gone, hey, we'll email you then when pre-orders are ready to go again. Didn't email anyone. And then instead they said, and keep an eye on our PlayStation 5 page for details of when you can pre-order. Didn't update the page. Instead, what they did is stealth put out a link on Twitter and went, here, hit this link to get in a queue to pre-order a PlayStation 5, which I happened to be looking at, and I was like number 1,100 in a queue or something. So I went, I'm working, I'll click it, I'll just have it running on the other monitor and keep an eye on it every now and then. 2 hour wait. After 2 hours, it then goes, okay, you're through the queue. I was like, I can pre-order. And it goes, after this bar has finished loading, which took a further 1 hour and 40 minutes. And then it probably about half a centimetre left to go. And then just went, sorry, we've run out. Well, it went, sorry, we've run out of regular PlayStation 5s. And then it went, now we've run out of PlayStation digital editions, and then just kicked me out. And then they sent me another email going, we're not stocking the digital edition in... So I don't know what's going on at Curry.
Although I have to say, I'm not surprised that a lot of the high street retailers are eschewing the digital editions of these consoles, because it is, especially shops like Game, because it's not really in their interest.
No, and I did hear some rumblings that a lot of stores might be ordering less digital editions than the physical editions, just for their own personal gain. I have no idea if that's true or not.
You would have thought there'd be an allocation thing of you have to take so many digital editions for how many physical you take. You would have thought.
Who knows? I don't.
Should we talk about Hades?
Why? Let's talk about the Hades.
Yeah!
Hades! So Hades, that's a game by Supergiant, and it's a lovely game. I like Hades. Hades is a good game. It's kind of like a Diablo roguelite, I think is the best way to describe it. With a fantastic art style that finds its way somewhere between kind of stylized, kind of almost stylized anime side of things, but also kind of mid-80s, early 90s kind of pulp comic book style. It's a great-looking game, and it plays, in my opinion, as good as it looks. I mean, come on, I've been playing it on PC. You've been playing it on...
PC as well, but I think you went for Steam, didn't you?
Yes, I have. I Steamed it.
You go Epic.
I went Epic, but only because last week after we finished recording, they'd announced that I think it was Rocket League is now free to download, and I went and got it on the Epic store. I thought, I'll just stick it in my library anyway. And then when I put it in my library, I got a message saying, hey, thanks for downloading. Yeah, here's a 10 quid voucher that you can use on Rocket League DLC. And I went, no, I'll use it on Hades instead. So I got Hades for like 6 quid, and I was well happy.
And apparently cross-play with Switch is coming at some point.
Yeah, as soon as I logged in, they went, updating your account and stuff. And it goes, it said something about the cross-play being in there, so you got to sync an account and do all that. But I'm very tempted once that is active to double dip on the Switch and take it out and move and then go back home, because this is one of those few games that I want to play on both.
I was going to pick it up on Switch, as you can probably sort of tell from that. I didn't do my homework this week. I did not pick up the game, but I didn't have much time for stuff. I did end up playing a couple of hours of games last night, but yeah, I didn't have much time for stuff, and I pre-ordered Star Wars Squadrons, which comes out tomorrow.
Oh God, is that tomorrow?
Yeah, so I want to kind of dedicate my time and money to that at the moment.
Or today, if you're watching this the day of release, or listening on the day of release.
Indeed.
Yeah. But Hades, so you're the son of Hades trying to escape the underworld and either get to Olympus or just get away. It's kind of muddy what's going on. But the gods
You've fallen out with your dad. You're having a teenage strop.
Yeah, and it is very kind of teenage angsty coming from the main character that you play. But also the gods of Olympus, they've got wind that you're trying to escape the clutches of Hades, and they've decided to help by throwing you different power-ups and stuff.
Yeah.
Because they all think you're buggering off to Olympus to come join them. So along
and
the way...
you're all related anyway.
Yeah, you're all related.
You're related.
So along the way, you might get a power-up from Zeus, and you have to accept the message and the charges, I assume. I accept the charges, and I got lightning powers now, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the various gods represent different things. You've got god of thunder, the lightning bolts. You've got the god of wine. You've got poison damage, but hangover damage.
Hangover. You give people hangovers.
Poseidon, water damage, etc., etc. It's the power-up system on this is probably... Initially, it was Dead Cells that I thought was the best at this. Now I think this is the best for weapon upgrades and things, just in how generous it is in its unlocks and how much it kind of lets you transfer over through various power-ups and means as you go along.
Yeah, and what's really good about it is that you can kind of once you go down, say Zeus was the first Olympian god you encountered on that particular run, you can still mix and match with the other gods that you come across. It's not like limiting you to one particular
you can mix and match.
Particular avenue for that whole game. And I think when you couple that with the fact there's about 6 or 7 different weapon types that you can unlock, and each of those kind of bonuses works slightly differently with each weapon, you can actually really mix it up, and it actually incentivizes you to use a different weapon each time. Like you get bonus permanent unlock dosh with a particular weapon on each run. So they've really thought about incentivizing trying out different play styles, which I love Dead Cells, don't get me wrong, but very quickly I was like, no, I know the combo that I like, I know what I'm always going to use, and that's what I kind of stopped trying out new builds because I became so comfortable with one particular one.
Yeah.
But I mean, so obviously, as with many roguelites, there's a lot of stuff that gets reset every run. So those are like your god power-ups. Like when you get to the end of your run, those will get reset. But you do get currency in the form of shards and jewels and I want to say something else. Keys. Yes, keys. There we go.
Keys for weapon unlocks.
Yes, which unlock all different kind of things or different tiers of boosting base stats. And it really does keep it fresh, and they've really thought about it in an intelligent way. And I think one of the things that really sets this above, say, something like Dead Cells is that whilst there's still that, don't get me wrong, I think Dead Cells is a great game. I love Dead Cells.
Oh, yeah,
but
it's cracking.
It kind of, between runs, it's like, I just do more of the same. Whereas actually Supergiant have really thought about the narrative that happens between each run. So when you've been, say, doing one run, it turns out that different stuff's happened in the underworld. Achilles has buggered off a bit like Tim is now buggering off for some reason. And like kind of different things have happened in the underworld since you've been away. Like Cerberus has buggered off and trashed the lounge because he's upset that you left him without telling him and stuff like that.
Cerberus is really cool as well.
Oh, I love Cerberus.
Yes. And you can pet Cerberus.
You can.
Yes,
and you
can
feed
pet the
him
dog
occasionally as well. I'll try and talk to him, which just gets met with a her.
It's funny though, because each time you pet Cerberus, he's like, you do it on the one head, and I did it a few times, and he goes, "Oh, you don't like it when I pet your other heads, do you?" And I was like, "I like that they've added that in just to explain the limitation."
Things that I often think about with roguelites is that the kind of world in which the game exists is never really that well fleshed out, or it feels like a bit of an afterthought. I've been really impressed with how Supergiant have actually made it all work in an overarching story, which you don't often see. And it's like the bosses that you fight, you'll end up having a catch up with in the bar afterwards if you defeat them, and and kind of go, "Oh no, hard feelings, mate. You just did what you had to do." It's just little touches like that, and
it's weird because it has got that kind of dark and gritty aesthetic, and there's lots of blood splatter and stuff as you're fighting, but it sort of has the kind of charm of the Disney's Hercules at the same time. Which I really, really like that. So this game is fantastic. It looks fantastic. The voice acting is spot on. The script writing is amazing.
Yes,
and the
absolutely.
gameplay is just super addictive. And it's funny as well because this kind of game, especially with this is why I want to get it on the Switch as well, for the ability to just kind of stop it and pick it up and carry on. This one, I'll finish doing what I'm doing for the day and go, right, I'll have a quick run on Hades, and then I'll just do one run. When I die, that's it, I'm off. And then I'll look and I'll go, oh, I've been playing for an hour. I was meant to do like 10 minutes, I thought. And it's like they're very generous in the runs, I find.
Yeah, although there are some big difficulty spikes, and certainly there are some kind of, have you upgraded enough checks in the form of the bosses that they can be quite harsh. The boss fights, but I think I think they've judged it really well in terms of, just enough challenge to make you try again, rather than like some roguelites where it's just, it kind of feels like you're banging your head against a brick wall and it's more luck than actual skill that gets you through. I think they've got that balance really nicely right in Hades.
I find myself, I've switched from I went from the spear initially, and then I've jumped to the shield just for the defensive. But once you start powering up on the shield,
is it because Captain America a little bit as well?
No, it's not that so much. By the way, playing Thor on Avengers at the moment, and he's super fun when you power him up too. But yes, the shield stuff, just because you use the shield to kind of have a dash. But also when you hold down before you dash, it acts as a defense, and that is so helpful in this game I'm finding. But as well, when you're powering it up and you can throw your shield like Captain America, but also the more power-ups you get, you'll find like you can throw the shield and it will poison enemies for 5 seconds while hitting them with a lightning of damage, while going instead of 3 dead enemies to like 9. That kind of stuff is very cool when you start putting power-ups behind it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just think it's a very well judged, pitched game. It's not without its flaws. Don't get me wrong.
I haven't heard anyone say anything bad about it.
Well, crossplay doesn't work yet.
I actually haven't got anything bad to say about it at the moment. I mean, it's hard, but it's meant to be hard.
Yeah. No.
See?
I tried, but
the one thing I'll say, for me personally, as I said, I kind of intended to pick this up. I didn't, as I didn't have as much time as I thought I would this week. But also funds having to be diverted to other things. I'll pick this up when it's cheaper at some stage. But I keep on saying that, and I keep on missing out on supermassive games. They're always like badly timed with something else that I'm just a bit more drawn to, kind of thing. And I keep on, I played Bastion for a very short amount of time after I picked it up free somewhere. But I've never really sort of sat down and played one of their games properly, and they all look like good games that I'd enjoy.
They do, and I think it's only Bastion, because Bastion came out on the iPad, which is a really good port of it, and I really got into that. Transistor I never touched, but I was so into it.
I love Transistor. I was really good.
I was following it religiously, and then when it came out, I was like, I haven't really got time to play it. I think Pyre was the other one I played, but that was only because they gave it away on the Vita, and I really didn't like it as much as I thought I would. But this is ticking all the boxes
things about that as well.
me.
But, okay.
Well, I have to say that, what's great about Hades, unlike some of our other games, is it's actually nowhere near as much of a time sink in terms to get something out of it, because I think Bastion, you actually really need to invest quite a bit of time in order to really get anywhere with that game, whereas Hades, you can literally kind of dip in and dip out of it as you want to. So I think that's a really, really good mix that they've managed to hit here.
Yeah, I urge anyone to go give this a try, especially if you're into roguelites. All the games are supermassive, but it's so good. It's really addictive, but in a good way.
Yes.
You're not going to sell all your worldly possessions to fund microtransactions in it or something dumb like that.
And on that point, there are no microtransactions.
No microtransactions.
Love it.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm hoping they go the Dead Cells route, where they just, like, every now and then they just go, hey, we just added all this stuff. Go have fun with it.
Yeah.
We're not going to charge you.
I think they've said that now that they've shipped it, they're going to, obviously, apart from big bugs, which I don't think there have been that many yet. They're going to take a kind of couple of weeks and months off, and then they're going to start kind of a relatively good cadence, start delivering kind of content updates in terms of like new areas, new biomes, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, and it deserves all the praise it gets. This game, they really have knocked it out of the park. It's well worth checking out.
This is a definite game of year contender for me. It's ticking all the boxes. I need a few more days with it, like, just because I've not had the full weekend playing this yet, so I'm going to sink some serious hours into this over the weekend and give it a proper run. If you're watching the video version of the podcast, I've got the footage playing from the start of me playing, because I don't want to give away too many plot elements and stuff as you go along, because that is the thing. The further you go, bit like a Bloodborne type thing, the further you go, the more kind of story you piece together along the way. And a lot of it it's stuff that you really should know firsthand for the first time rather than have it spoiled for you, because it's fun to piece together, and it's like your reward for playing through the game. But
it's like a narrative jigsaw.
A narrative jigsaw. I absolutely love this game, and I recommend it to everyone. So that's Hades.
So let that be a lesson to you, young Timothy, for not doing your homework this week.
Yeah. PC, all the consoles, I think.
Sure, why not?
I think so. PC, PS4, Xbox, and Switch.
Yeah.
Sure. Sounds right.
All the things.
Switch.
All the things.
Up on that.
Samsung smart toasters as well, doubtless.
And if you have access to the Epic Game Store, maybe pick up the free version of Rocket League and see if they give you a £10 voucher as well, and then pick this up for £6.
Is officially better than free.
Yeah, I love that. That was complete random chance as well. I'm probably never going to play Rocket League again, but I went, I'll just add it to the games library just in case, and then went, £10, nice. Thank you, Epic.
Yep. Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate. But it has been obviously it's always a bit of a quiet time before the launch of new platforms, but I'm finally getting a bit of time to catch up with other games as well. I don't know, it's just weird with lockdown and everything. I kind of just need, because I'm spending so much time indoors, I don't really necessarily have the brain power to get stuck into anything like with a really involved plot at the moment. I just kind of want to zone out. And I've actually found stuff like No Man's Sky.
VR,
I keep coming back to is
No
a
Man's
really
Sky in VR.
Great way to chill out. Also, I've been catching up on the Borderlands 3 DLC. Still, I don't think it's the best Borderlands game out there, but it is quite good in terms of mindless fun.
The hours I have had this week, I've tried to put into finishing Ghost of Tsushima, which I'm still plugging away at and haven't quite got to the end of.
Okay.
In Act 3, but still need to finish that up.
I found myself with a bit of extra time, and I started learning how to rip my PlayStation discs so I can use them on an emulator so I can play around. Well, because I go back to this every now and then. I really love the game Bust a Groove, and I really want to play through the game Bust a Groove.
You mention it almost every week. But
I think I mentioned it last week, in fact, listening back to the podcast. But the problem I have is the main way I could play Bust a Groove now, because it's never been given a digital release or a re-release or anything like that at all, I'd have to hook up my PlayStation 3 so I can play the PlayStation disc. But then the problem I have is the game was made for old TVs. So when you play it on a HD TV, it's all out of the audio's out of sync, and there's no way of calibrating it. So I've basically downloaded RetroArch and ripped the CD and then created the queue in the bin file, and then uploaded that onto there, and then messed around with delay settings until I got it feeling just right. And then I managed to do that, and now I'm like, maybe I should import a copy of Bust a Groove 2 so I can finally play it, because it never came out in the UK, and I've always wanted to play it.
Gotta love those backups.
Yeah, this is what being at home does. It drives you mad. It makes you do things.
Yeah, or sometimes you just sit there going, I want to do something, but I'm not sure what, so I'm just going to do nothing. You just kind of end up, it's like, I don't know if you've had this with like Netflix or Amazon or something like that, where you just go, there's actually too much choice. I cannot deal with this.
Well, that's the other thing. While being off, I watched the rest of those Marvel TV shows that were released to Netflix, because I never finished them, and now I've gone through them all. I was like, I'm good.
I really want to watch Agent Carter, actually.
Agent Carter. See,
I only did
the Netflix ones, not the Disney.
Okay, not the Amazon ones.
No, but they were ABC, I think.
Yeah.
I
really want to watch some of those.
Anyway, that's our staying away from the world while COVID's going on.
Yeah, it's still going on. God damn it. Sorry, has it got to that point in the podcast where I say wash your hands again?
Yeah, go for it.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Would you like a sound effect for wash your hands?
Yes, please.
What we got? Do you want the MLG horns?
Yeah.
All right, wash your hands!
Yo, 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 it's your boy, MC Scrubble coming at you with some thick hand washing.
Should do wash your hands and then have a toilet flushing noise. I know that's not acceptable behaviour. I'm just saying as a joke before Dan.
Are you allowed to talk about Geek Out for Gosh yet, Tim?
I still can't exactly mention what's going on, but exciting things are happening. That's all I will say for now.
So in that case, go to Twitter and follow Geek Out for numeral 4 Gosh, and look out for updates. Great Ormond Street Hospital, there is fundraising afoot, and it is good if you go and take part in that, either donating or raising, or just spreading the word.
I will say, although this is slightly bad news generally, it's not entirely bad news for how it relates to Geek Out for Gosh, but just no friend of the show, Sarah Dyer, has moved down from Geek Out for Gosh and is now the community manager at Splash Damage. So congratulations to her. And, hope that goes well for her. Yeah, nice one.
Yeah. But yeah, with that said, we will go through some community feedback questions and general musings that are available. So if you've enjoyed the show, you can get in contact with us by doing so on the comment section of BigRedBarel.com, on our Discord, which there is a link available on BigRedBarel.com, and also at BigRedBarel on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Although I think it's BigRedBarel TV on YouTube, if I remember correctly.
Can I just say thank you to just one person in particular? Yeah. Ricky, I do believe he has given our Discord server a cheeky boost.
He has, and that's why he gets an eating my dust emoji on the announcement, as we do to everyone that boosts the server.
Exactly.
So I think Dan started.
Just want to say thank you.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm not sure that's the best thank you in the world, but yeah, good.
That's great. So yeah, everyone head to the Discord, especially because we are having a lot of fun on that there service.
Also, Hunters as well. Well done, Hunters. Thank you, everyone, for boosting.
Might actually have to join, now that I've got a new phone, actually get involved a bit. Also, because I might need to find a squadron.
Oh no, now you'll find out that we're talking about it.
Hey, yes.
Oh God. All right, so on the Twitter, first of all, at BigRedBarel on Twitter, Sekinder, he has asked, any thoughts on the old switcheroo that CD Projekt Red did on Crunch? 6 weeks in the COVID climate. Even in gaming, that's incredibly harsh. Mental health is death at stake for a lot of devs.
I have some opinions on this. Can I wade in on it?
Tim,
go for it first.
Right. To me, this is a bit of a two-sided coin, because on the one hand, I can really see...
Can I just say I hate those three-sided coins? They right off.
Three-sided coins, this really annoying when they're trying to flip them and decide something. Anyway, but yeah, although they are technically three-sided. But anyway,
wow, that was deep. That was deep.
I don't like dodeca coins.
Dodecahedron coins are really friggin' annoying.
My Scepter coin, which sounds like the unit of currency that Decepticons use.
Yes, but right. On the one hand, I am very pro people, pro good working conditions, and pro and anti-crunch. Right? Yes. Let's state that absolutely and utterly the case. But on the same other hand, and this may be a not a unique perspective, because I am not the only one in the world, but a perspective like that is not necessarily only comes from my position, but comes from someone in my position. As a business owner, there are times when I have to work whether I like it or bloody not, because I need to for the good of the business. And I'm not saying that everyone that works for the business should necessarily have to sign up for that, but there should be a slight sense of collective ownership from some people, and some people should want to willingly work extra days for that. It's a bit difficult to have that conversation in light of the whole crunch and anti-crunch kind of thing, which, as I said, I totally agree with, and I don't think it should be a general working principle that people have to live with crunch for an extended period of their lives and put things on them. But a 6-day week for, 6 weeks or so is not the harshest thing in the world. And I do think the reaction to it is based on practices within the game industry that CD Projekt Red generally don't adhere to and try and stay away from most of the time. And I think some of the backlash towards them is a bit unwarranted when there are plenty of other gaming companies out there that are doing much worse to their people, much more often.
Or indeed other companies, full stop, not just gaming companies.
Yes.
And, you know, don't get me wrong. I mean, I like you, Tim, you know, I think if a company has an expectation for its employees to do that all of the time, that is not right. That is not right. But at the same time, I mean, there's been, well, listeners, you know, there's been a couple of weeks where I've had to bow out at relatively last moment because something's come up at work.
And likewise, I've been stuck at work.
I don't, you know, it sucks that I have to do that, but I also know that there's going to be a little bit of give and take. And I'm not, and if this becomes a new normal for CD Projekt Red, no, I don't think that is correct. We also don't know that, I would hope this is the case, but there is some give and take as well. I know in my job that if I've had to work weekends for a couple of weekends in a row, generally speaking, my boss will go, check it. You know, you've been working hard, Dan. Why don't, you know, check your email once in the morning, once at lunchtime, once near the end of the day, and I won't ask no questions. You know, and there's always, it's different when you're in your own business, Tim, obviously, but you know, it's I think I would hope CD Projekt Red, generally speaking, everything I've heard and read about them, whether or not that is everything to hear and read about them is another conversation entirely. But they do seem to be pretty reasonable in the way they tend to engage with their employees, from what I've heard.
I have had, and I'm not, I've seen people talk about the 6-week period, and I'm not entirely sure that is accurate. But if that is the case, there have been times when working for my own business, I have worked 6-day weeks for more than 6 weeks in a row, and some of those weeks worked 7 days weeks.
Yeah.
Just
well.
the nature of what you have to do sometimes.
I mean, all I'm going to say
is,
type thing. Christ, I used to work in an emergency department. You know, I
6-day weeks a holiday.
It's easy. You know, there were some weeks,
but
there were some weeks where I would do, you know, 60 to 80 hours a week back to back, do 4 lots of that back to back, or go 36 hours without sleep because of conflicting shifts.
And there are commercial reasons why the game has to come out at this time, basically.
Indeed, because
they cannot delay the game
back 27 Cyberpunk 2077 3 times.
Yeah, and it's not a factor of not wanting to delay the game anymore. They cannot delay the game anymore. It now has to come out at a certain time because they have to hit a certain number of things that they've set up, basically, with commercial partners.
I mean, I just want to look back on, you know, it's, you know, I don't want this to sound like, well, I've had it worse, so it's okay for them to do that. No, that's not cool.
That's not what we're saying either. Yeah,
is not cool, and it wasn't cool at the time. There's a blooming good reason I don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think this is one of these things where, crunch isn't ideal, but to a certain degree, with any product launch, not just in the gaming industry, in my industry that I now work for, that there will always be, in a build up to a big milestone, because everyone, you know, and if it may well be, let's not forget, driven by the employees wanting to get the absolute best out of themselves, and they're voluntarily doing it. I think that's a very different situation than the kind of it being an imposition and an expectation from management that thou shalt do this, otherwise you're fired. That's a very different thing, and that's something I would never condone.
No, there is a bit of a difference there.
Coleman.
And this, if I could just throw in my 2 cents, because I
have a question.
Go on.
How many sides does this 2-cent coin have?
Just 3, technically, according to Tim. So, I mean, if you want to throw in 2 cents, then 2 1-cent coins, and that'd be 6 sides, I guess, technically. Hey, anyway, without mentioning,
problem solved, Coleman.
Without mentioning where I work or what I do, because I like my job and it could risk my job. I work in a similar industry, and we do work to crunch times as well for when a big project is coming up. But no, and I have worked long hours, weekends, nights, days and stuff on projects that I normally wouldn't work so much on, but I am compensated in overtime or time in lieu, which it's great. If they're following to those kind of standards, then I'm happy with that. The most recent one being the COVID stuff. Furloughs, companies taking advantage of furloughing teams. We've gone from a team of 10 down to a team of 3. I've been I've been on call 24/7 essentially, and I have had days where I've woken up, logged in at 6 and not gone off till like midnight, and it happens, but I do get that time back. I do get that money back. So if they're following it, I'm fine with it. If they're as long as they're not doing these things where they're working people to exhaustion, they're not allowing them to have time off, they're not allowing them to
asking people to work Saturday and they're paying them for doing so. So like that's not the worst crunch
I've worked jobs where that's mandatory. Kind of you do your weeks and then they go, right, by the way, you're also working Saturday.
You also got to work another 10 hours and we're not paying you.
That's different jobs, different industries and stuff.
The other thing I'll say is no one has asked the CD Projekt Red employees, given the choice, would you rather work a 6-day week for this number of weeks or delay the game again, not get some bonuses based on that fact, and also, by the way, you'll be working over Christmas. They'll probably want to finish it this year and get it done. There's not some of the backlash, as I said, does seem to be a bit heavy-handed because it's being tarred with a brush of this crunch and being
it's perfectly appropriate that a light does get shine on it, going, "Hey, what you doing there, CD Projekt Red? You're not being dicks, are you?" And I think
but I think the situation is they are not entirely being as horrible as everyone else, and I think this is a necessary evil that they've had to kind of force on things that they wouldn't have done lightly given the statements that they've made in the run-up to making
Although, for all we know, we might get 2 days from this podcast and then there's going to be some report that they get whipped to their desks and beaten in their head and stuff, forcibly chained to their desks. So, just in case that happens, I'm putting my hands up. Right, we didn't know.
All we're saying is, at the moment, we've only heard one side. There's 2 sides to every conversation. Sometimes more sides.
3 sides to every coin.
3 sides to a conversation, much like a coin. Well done, Tim. Yeah. You did a funny, mate. Congratulations. Hey.
Right, we should wrap up that one because that's one question out of a lot we've got.
All right, okay, do it.
Yep.
Right, also on Twitter, SEO Tyrus, he has put down, what do you lads think about the change of Peter Parker's face in Spider-Man Remastered? So if you don't know, Spider-Man that came out on the PS4, that's coming out on the PS5. If you buy the Ultimate Edition of Spider-Man Miles Morales, you get the the port of PS4 to PS5 version of Spider-Man with all the cool improvements and stuff. But also, they seem to have recast the face model from a guy who looks legally different to Andrew Garfield to a guy that looks legally different to Tom Holland. So, personally, they said they've done this because the face better matches the voice actor. I think that I don't think the Tom Holland looking fella suits the narrative of the game, as the guy that they initially used looks more like someone who's been Spider-Man for a while. It looks more adult, I think. But at the same time, I always thought that the face model for the Spider-Man PS4 version was off.
Look bad. I will say it's good. Oh, go on.
Oh, Tim, no, you go for it, Tim.
Okay, I was going to say it was good, and here is my 2 arguments for why. One, it looks more like Spider-Man to me. I think his face just generally looks a bit more, and maybe it is influenced by the kind of movie thing as well. But just if you put the 2 things together, one looks a bit more like Spider-Man, and also he looks a bit more like a human.
Yeah,
because the other face not so much. He looks a bit plasticine.
That may well be it as well. There might have been some differences which necessitated a model, or might even be that the original person whose likeness it is might withdraw their consent for having their face used in
I just imagine that they up-resed it all into 4K or everything, and then looked at Spider-Man's face and went, "Oh, we can't do that."
I liked the response because so this was a big bunch of stuff that Insomniac put on their blog, and then they put a thing out on Twitter going, "These are all the changes that are happening in Spider-Man," and new frame rates, new textures, and all this kind of stuff. And the amazing Spider-Man suit is coming to the game as well, which I actually am one of the few people that like that suit, so I'm happy about that. The guy who was the face model for the original Peter Parker came forward and went, "It's my bone structure. They don't like my stupid bones." So I thought that was quite funny. But yeah, it's fine. It doesn't detract from the game itself. I didn't like the first face model. I find this one looks too young, but what are you going to do?
Just as long as he can do whatever
most of the time.
all I care about is, can he still do whatever a spider can? If the answer is yes, I'm down with it.
Yes, you can hold an egg sac on your back.
I tell you what,
I love it when I do that.
Just those graphical improvements are making me more keen to play through the game again, because I only played through it once and I didn't play through all the DLC. So yeah, I'm looking forward to actually playing through the remastered version of the game as well as playing the Miles Morales bit as well. Like, I'm actually really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Next question for the podcast.
Yes, on the Discord, Tendo P. I have a question for the podcast. How do you feel about the announcement of Steve coming to Smash Bros. Ultimate? So if you don't know, there is Minecraft DLC coming to Smash Bros. Ultimate. Steve, I think Alex is the female version, Zombie and Enderman. They will all be the different palette swap characters. Yeah, it's fine.
I'm perfectly fine with that. It's been a long time since it's just been limited to Nintendo's IP anyway. I mean, I think we crossed
Sonic's been in there for ages.
Yeah, I know. Well, no.
Snake?
And has a solid Snake.
Pac-Man's in this one.
Exactly. So it's been going on for donkey's years. I mean, Minecraft's on bloody everything.
Just so I can answer the question as well.
Yes.
No.
Like, you have answered it better than I will do. But my answer is, I could not care less.
I mean, that is frankly the best response.
Yeah. I've been keeping up with the updates and the DLC and stuff, and I'm less bothered about the character of any of the Minecraft characters in one package. I really like the Minecraft stage, though. I'm more excited about the stage than I am the character.
Yeah.
So there you go. Ed, I have a question for the podcast.
Yep.
With Spider-Man's face being replaced with more fidelity for the PS5 remake, what characters do you think would look more realistic with your faces attached instead? Which...
with our faces?
Yes. So this is a two-part question, so we'll go with this one first.
Okay, I'd like to see Coleman on Sackboy.
I'd be up for that.
Nice.
I'd like Dan on Spider-Man.
But what can I say? I've been blessed with a good bone structure. What can I say?
But not Peter Parker's face. On Spider-Man's mask. So he pulls down like this saggy Dan face.
I thought you were going to say on Spider-Man's butt.
Nice. Nice. Thanks for that, mate.
We haven't got one for Tim.
Okay. You have to do me now, Dan.
Tim could be Femshep.
What?
The stock Femshep. With his little grey hair and everything.
And beard.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, that's what we're going to go for.
Good.
I think it should be Alan Wake. And Alan Wake.
Ed also had an alternate question. Which actors should replace your faces for the podcast?
Oh.
I think Alan Rickman for me.
By Grandpa's hammer.
Yeah.
See, uncanny.
Who's bald?
We've never been seen in the same room. Probably because he's dead.
You're Brenner.
I'll have Mark Strong.
Okay.
My secret dad.
I think Tim is Ellen DeGeneres.
I don't remember her having a beard.
Who was it? Someone wrote secret answers. I think it was Bleezy, actually. Jason Statham, Clive Owen, and Michael Caine. He'll let us figure out which one's which.
Dan's definitely Michael Caine.
I'm assuming I'm Statham.
Yep. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people know that I know that you know that.
Ruby, the size of a tangerine.
I think it'd be a bit old for you now. It'd have to be younger.
Skydark, I have a question. It's the PlayStation 1's 25th anniversary. So what are your thoughts, favourite games on the system? I love the PlayStation 1. Buster Groove.
Me too.
No, my favourite game on the system is probably Final Fantasy VII, but in a short, distant second, it would be Buster Groove, I think.
I bizarrely really like Jumping Flash.
Oh, I love Jumping Flash too. And Evil Zone. No one ever played Evil Zone.
See, I'm not sure what my favourite game was by the time, kind of got through all of the system. I'm not sure. It might have been Final Fantasy VII back in the day, but...
Well, if Tim's having Final Fantasy VII,
or Metal Gear Solid.
But to be fair, the first game that my mind goes to, especially when anyone talks about the anniversary or the release of it and stuff, was, games that I played at the release of PlayStation 5, which was my friend's copy of Ridge Racer, basically. And
Ridge Racer!
Ridge Racer is kind of where they go. I
have a little question of my own to add on this. This is something that I did on Twitter as well. What were your first PlayStation game or games when you got your system?
Ridge Racer.
Yeah, Ridge Racer.
Ballerina Toshinden.
The first 3D fighter for the PlayStation.
Cool Borders was
Cool
one of my
Borders, nice.
I really liked that.
I used to love Cool Borders 2 as well.
Cool Borders 2 was better and really good.
My first games were Reloaded, which I thought was utter tripe, and Aliens Trilogy, which was almost as tripe.
Wow.
Well, you didn't pick well, Coleman.
My dad bought them with a console. It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. I didn't have a choice.
Was it one of those, he got conned into a package of games in, Electronic Boutique?
Yeah, I think he just picked a bundle.
Yeah.
Bleezy asks, how do you... Oh, wait, hold on.
How do we sleep at night? Badly.
Bleezy...
I don't know what I'm doing.
There he is.
Yeah,
he asks, how do you feel on game marketing since the Series S with a 512 megabyte hard drive, which he's attached a nice little
They had
screenshot.
to save the money somewhere, but I can tell you that with the download sizes we're looking at, unless they have different distributions for the non-super duper HD S, you're going to run out of space very quickly and end up paying lots of money for external hard drives.
I hope that's not an official Xbox advertisement and instead is like a magazine or something, because that's really dumb.
I think it was wasn't this taken from a Tube advert, I think?
There you go.
Well, no, it was an advert. It was an advert in a store in game, I think he photographed it from, actually.
I mean,
that's correct.
That correlates with what I've heard, and probably one of the most expensive bits on this is the super sexy drive.
Super sexy drive.
That much super sexiness costs a lot of money.
Yeah, but apparently I think it's supposed to be 512 gigs. No, I think this is a mistake.
I just completely misread that as 512
No.
gigs.
It's a mistype.
It's a misprint.
The S is 512 megabytes. But yeah,
sorry.
Yes.
Me not reading it properly.
But it's still going to run about. But the one thing that it's not quite an orange for apples, or an apples for apples comparison, rather, to compare the size of games on S to the size of games on X, because apparently the S games are smaller.
Yeah, we mentioned
the versions made for the S are smaller. So even though it's half the size, you'll probably get more than half the games on it, is kind of my logic there, possibly.
Right, that's it. Thank you for all your feedback. And now we're going to do some podcast reviews. So if you want to review the show because you want to let us know that you love us and that, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser and Castbox. I believe those are the three main ones. So on Apple Podcasts, we've got from Bazoon5. He's written always a 5-star and given us a 5-star. He wrote, love the podcast. Happy birthday, Tim.
Just for comedy value, I'd like it if he went always 5-star and then gave us 4-star. But anyway.
No, don't do that. We need
Don't do that. Don't do that. No. 5 stars.
Right, always 1 star and give us a 5.
But that was
funny,
appreciated
trust me.
Anyway. Yes. Thank you.
And on Castbox from Prototype number 7, been following. You don't get star rankings on Castbox, sadly. Been following these guys since the On Her Majesty's Secret Sarcastic Services.
Omes, is that pronounced?
Mm-hmm. That's where you first started stalking us, Coleman. I think.
We'll try that again.
That's going deep. That's long.
That is
long ways back.
like 11 years ago.
Yeah, that's when I had hair and I was Scottish.
Wow.
Been following these
guys. I
guys.
still haven't bought your book.
Since Omes, and it has been one of the most enjoyable podcasts I've listened to the entire time. I don't have iTunes anymore to update my old review, but hopefully this helps. Thank you for all your hard work. That is really good.
You are most welcome, Prototype number 7.
Also on Castbox from Barry Wilson. I've listened for years. Right, brag. Even beyond the point I stopped gaming, but kept listening as these guys are so funny and managed to keep it interesting.
We've continued doing the podcast long after most of us have stopped doing as much gaming as
and stopped being funny as well. So
there's years worth of podcasts where Dan's just played Destiny.
Yep. True fact.
He said, you guys are so funny and you managed to keep it interesting enough for me to stay tuned. So much so, I've started playing again. Oh, we've done some good in the world.
We've
just to stay up to
reinvigorated
date
a gamer.
with what these guys are talking about. Well worth a listen. Just stay with it because it can get a bit hectic at times. That's an understatement of the year.
That was really nice.
That's fair enough.
Barry, if you're getting back into gaming again, may I recommend Hades? It's a pretty damn good game.
It's a great game.
Yeah.
Much goodness.
So, yes, once again, reviews on Apple Podcasts, Castbox, Podchaser, and Stitcher. 4 different choices for you if you're not
Yes,
a
guys.
user. That's everything.
Excellent.
When this show comes out, both Star Wars Squadrons and Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time are out.
Oh, I better buy
Possibly.
one of those then.
Yeah, we should probably play something and talk about it.
Good
What
plan.
thing?
Come join my squadron. Red
All
leader
right.
standing by.
Red Slaphead standing by.
Brown trousers standing by.
Yellow Belly standing by. I'm the guy flying away. I wasn't going to pick this up, and then I watched the trailer today and saw Bosk, and I'm in.
Oh,
Yeah, you're in.
I'm getting
yeah,
Bosk.
they have been putting some excellent trailers out, and I accidentally caught the opening of the opening of the game as someone was streaming it as well. I was like, okay, no, don't want to watch this. I'll come back and just watch a little bit of the gameplay. But yeah, I'm quite excited.
It's funny
to
because
jump into
I
this as
was
well.
sold on Crash Bandicoot, but now it might be Star Wars. Yeah.
Join us together. We will rule the galaxy.
I'll never join you.
I have the high ground, Anakin. You are meant to bring balance to the Force.
Shall we go?
Why are you so bad at acting? You've ruined the whole prequel trilogy.
It's all because of sand.
You dick.
It's hard and it's coarse and it gets everywhere. Microtransactions.
Nice.
No
microtransactions in a Star Wars game. It's worth picking up. Like that. Let's do it. It's been a while. Well, actually, no. Last one
been a
didn't have
while.
any microtransactions, but hey, this is good.
I think some of the microtransaction-y stuff in Battlefront 2 I actually softened to towards the end because they released a Clone Wars pack, but all the costumes and stuff were made for the hyper-realistic looking characters. So you could have, rest in peace, Christopher Lee as Count Dooku wearing the satin pajamas from Clone Wars.
Nice.
Something about that really amused me.
Nice.
Dan, we got to go.
Nice.
Have we?
Can't go until you
Oh,
say your magic words.
Okay, my magic words are flippity-dub-dub. It's my magic word of the day.
No, that's not how this works, Dad.
It is. All right, anyway, we are going to go. I'm going to stop talking nonsense. Coleman started some outro music, I think, so that's really...
I'm queuing it up.
All right, it's time for me to get talking. Thank you ever so much for listening, dear listeners, because you are listeners, and after all, that is how you show us your appreciation. Make sure you go to www.BigRedBarel.com, twitter.com/BigRedBarel, or indeed come say hello on our Discord. There is a link on our front page, so you come say hi there, and we like to say hello to you in Discord too. So,
Bye.
that's your
All
lot.
right.
Thanks ever so much for listening. And all that really remains is for me to remind you that I have been Dan.
I might have been Tim.
I have been Jason Statham.
Yeah, you have. So, until next time, dear listeners, doodle bye.
You and your ears are quite welcome.
For the podcasting goodness that you just heard.
Why not roll on over
To BigRedBarel.com.
for more podcasts?
News, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet. BigRedBarel.com.
It's
This is gonna
basically
go well.
breaking news.
Nice.
Basically news.
With Tim Hips.
With Timothy Hips.